Okay, welcome to episode 10 of the official Arbroath FC podcast. Usual suspects with me, to my right, Jamie Cadman. How are we doing, Jamie?
Hello and welcome back, JB.
Thank you very much. Very good time. Fermer?
Hey, yeah, how you doing? Nice to see you.
Not bad at all. It's all good. And our favourite job hopper, Ewan Spoony Smith. How are you, sir?
I'm here to stay this time, to be honest with you, that's it. The only job I ever wanted to work for, so there you go.
The only job you ever wanted to work for?
Is that a Mo Johnston quote?
Aye, well, there you go. I'm next to Fermer. I couldn't, I was missing him too much, that's why I came back, to be honest with you.
You're not the only man, you're only human, man.
Absolutely.
Couldn't entice him to come down to Tannadice, so I had to come back.
Good to have you here anyway. We're going to do a slightly different thing. We've had the transfer windows just slammed shut last night, so it's a quick review of the games. We have had a little bit of a Christmas break, so it's looking at the games, looking at the signings, and having a look at where we can potentially be in the survival fight for the end of the season.
No survival fight. Just get that out there right now. No survival fight. That's defeatist talk.
Well,
it's kicking
it still
off
is at the moment. It still is at the moment because of where we are.
Go. Dick's had a fantastic signing season.
I agree with that.
So he's like, here, man, we're getting right up. Well, the table.
I also agree with that.
Right.
That still doesn't mean you can't have a survival fight. It can be a positive. You can turn that into a positive. We've got a cause to go for here. We're battling.
Got to roll the sleeves up, Fermer.
Oh, you boys is getting a wee bit pedantic with your language just because you've got a journalist in.
Two journalists.
Did you know?
What's you two like? You're a journalist in that?
Did you not see Dick Campbell's chat last week that I posted up on social media about being in the trenches? You'd love to be in the trenches with Big Dick.
Did you post on social media?
You'd love to be in the trenches. Listen, I stopped posting for a while. I bet you enjoyed that, yeah?
I couldn't believe it.
Had a wee break, had a wee social detox for 8 months.
Great, we never hit that bloody paywall anymore.
The last game we've reviewed was way back in December, so we've got the whole of January to look at, starting with the 2nd of January. What a game, away to Dundee.
What a day, hospitality.
Were you?
Aye, fairness.
For how long?
Shock.
A day.
Oh, right, okay.
treated like lords. Really good in there. It wasn't a champagne, but I don't like champagne anyway, but fizzy wine, it was good. Me, wife, Kev and Carl, it was really nice. But
Kev Middleton?
Kev what?
Kev Middleton, no?
No, Kev Middleton, no.
Gospel man?
Kev Craib. But no, Dundee, what a start to the year. You just couldn't get better, could it? We played, I thought we played fantastic. Digging in there and just, what was it, 10-15 minutes, 1-0 up, we went mental in the hospital lounge. Actually just about got thrown out, but that's a whole different story.
We'll get to that.
Wifey didn't like us celebrating.
Oh, right, okay.
Done Arbroath scoring. Little did she kid, she'd pop away another 3 times. But 1-0 up and then 2-0, I'm thinking to myself, this can't be right. But I think we were by far the better team anyway. Dundee pulled in back just before half time. And then they equalised a wee while just after half time at 10 minutes into the game or something. And then again, Arbroath, bang bang. It's just phenomenal crowd, a great support.
It's brilliant.
Just nothing bad to say about that day.
Fully deserved victory.
I thought we looked more like ourselves. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it was a wee bit short-lived. But I thought we were great against Dundee and gave us a wee bit of hope.
Yeah.
You've been to a lot more games than I've been to Fermer over the seasons, not just this year. Best debut by a player, El Mani?
That's
Because he had some game.
That's a tough thing to answer. He had a great game, don't get me wrong. Best debut? Well, I mean, as far as my memory can go, it will have to, but I've seen a lot of good debuts. I'll give him that just now until I can think of something.
Everybody
different.
was raving about
He was great.
Aye.
He was. I think what made it even better was we hadn't had showed much previous games. So I think, and can you get these guys? I think in our back of these minds was a wee bit. Is this boy going to be any better than what we've signed before previously? But I think he came on and he proved it. I'd heard he was good and I'd heard he was keen. So You think?
Yeah, I mean, we had a long wait to see him, didn't we? Because we originally signed him in November, I think, and then we had problems which I think are ridiculous just to put on record. The reason we never got him was because his last status was as an amateur, and he'd been in an amateur ranks for only a matter of months, and he wasn't allowed to sign out with the transfer window, even though he was a free agent for a club, which I think that's denying somebody the right to work personally, but that's what happened to him. But anyway, the fact that he came back, because I gather he had options as well, he had other options during that period to go to other clubs, but he stayed loyal to Arbroath. Arbroath stayed loyal to him. What an impact that day. I remember Cammy Kerr got voted man of the match for Dundee, and Cammy Kerr was in his back pocket the whole game.
I think I'm going to put it on record, this man of the match things. There are no, pardon me, that seems it's voted by hospitalities.
Aye.
You're a waste of time.
A few drinks by that point.
Aye, I mean, I remember going to one till a hospitality, and Lawrence Shandling won man of the match. The game had even kicked off. and that's fact. Because the folk that was picking man of the match, she'd never met him, she thought he was great, and so she voted for him. So, and I seen it in the hospitality, folk vote for the home team person all the time. When we were up at Cove Rangers, they were voting, it's their favourite player. So man of the match at these things, I'm not just...
It's always the home player though. It's always the home player. You never. The only time it's the away player is, it used to be years ago when, as a journalist in the League Cup, they used to come up and hand out a sheet to all the journalists, and then it could be from either side. But that was in the days we used to win prizes. I mean, some players won bikes and stuff like that for winning man of the match. Remember, bikes. Yeah, I'm sure if I'm right, my memory serves me correct. Ian Jess for Aberdeen years ago won a Coca-Cola bike after man of the match. Quite how he got that up the road after the game, I've got no idea. Yeah.
The old days of a bottle of Bell's whiskey's changed.
Yeah.
We were in the hospital, in the commentary, we picked a Dunfermline player in a Dunfermline game. There you go, so we don't always pick a home player.
Fair enough, aye. Well, it certainly wasn't Cammy Kerr that day, that's what I said. But what about Yassine? What I like about Yassine, right, okay, you see his background story, we all know his background story. He was a stunt double for Neymar and Ronaldo on TV adverts, and Nike. He's been to Barcelona, he's been to Milan, he's been to London, he's done all these adverts. That was a gig he had on the sideline. But sometimes with these freestyler players, they can't actually play when they go on the pitch. You know, they're brilliant to take to like a showpiece, an event, and and get the crowd going and everything, but the minute they step on a football pitch, they're lost. But he doesn't look lost on the pitch. He's somebody that actually tracks back. He's somebody that fights for the team. I've met him and interviewed him. He's really already very much invested. And the one thing I like about what Arbroath are doing just now, a lot of the players that we're signing that are coming on a hybrid full-time status, they're staying in the town. And I think that's really important. They could stay in Dundee, they could stay somewhere else, but get to know the town, get to understand the town, understand what makes Arbroath tick as a place, and then they might have more affection for the place, and I think that's working. So
they're all staying above
the last lads fella liked Arbroath. The reason they bid on Arbroath because they couldn't afford the taxi home with the Vitos.
You'll know this because you know all the stats and things like that. Is that the last time Arbroath beat Dundee since something like 1979?
1979. Ironically enough, literally just before I came on the podcast, I was out and I was speaking to one of the players that played that day, David Journo.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, he actually, we were talking about that. He was saying that he played the last time we beat Dundee away, so in 1979. Incredible, phenomenal. I mean, albeit there have been a lot of years where we haven't been in the same divisions and stuff like that, but it's still a phenomenal record, and. But actually, the ironic thing, and Fermer might agree here, it wasn't altogether unexpected for me, because actually in our games, specifically with Dundee this year, we've competed really well. I mean, when we played them the first time at Dens, I thought for spells we were the better side, and we ended up losing 4-2. When we played them here, we were more than worth our one each draw, so it wasn't altogether unexpected. In fact, I was away the week before, we were all down at the darts, and I was talking...
You weren't all doing at the darts.
You weren't doing at the darts. You saw it on the telly though. But I was speaking to Johnny Booth, and I was saying to him, Johnny, I genuinely fancy us to get a result. I just had a feeling that this could be the turning point, so yeah, okay. We can talk about the next week's game. It didn't
wasn't a turning point.
A turning point, but it certainly set the tempo for what we've been like when we've been good in 2023.
Well, that brings us to the Cali game.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Not great, was it? 4-1 defeat?
I don't think it was our best performance. I watched that for the telly because I was nae wheel. I didn't think we were brilliant there, to be fair. But I mean, I heard that Elmani was okay, but this is just way fans have been speaking to. So some of the players were okay, but it wasn't just brilliant.
Yeah. Do you know what, right? It was I've seen, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I've seen a few heavy defeats at Gayfield recently, right?
Yeah.
And as the heavy defeats go, it was on the less embarrassing side of things, because it wasn't really a 4-1 game for me. Don't get me wrong, Cali were the better side, they deserved to win, but I think 4-1 flattered them a little bit. It was a little bit like they scored at the right points in the game. It wasn't like the Queen's Park game where I think they ran all over us, to be honest with you. I think Queen's Park are the team, they're probably the best side I've seen play us at Gayfield this season is Queen's Park. The way they tore us apart that night. Even the Dunfermline game, Dunfermline were good but weren't as good as Queen's Park. But we just didn't turn up that day. It was a shame, you know. Elmani scored a cracking goal. The sad thing is that game's probably best remembered for the commentary, isn't it? It's best remembered for the wayward free kick by Elmani. It's the Jeezy Peeps moment, isn't it? That's the Jeezy Peeps game, you know. So, but I just hope the next time we turn up, when we're turning up on Saturday against Rafe, that we turn up and we show our home form, because the home form has not been good this season.
Well, I was about to say, do you think we're struggling playing at Gayfield? Do you think our home advantage is not as good as it used to be? With new signings, not training in Arbroath?
I think we've got to be quite honest with ourselves here. We've had a howler. I think we've maybe not been as bad as a lot of us has been thinking, or a lot of us has been saying, because we've not been getting the results. But I think that now we've definitely beginning to gel now, and the guys, I'm hearing, and Ewan was there the other night there, I'm hearing that training's different, I'm hearing that Dick's different, and I think the fans are different. The fans are keener. They've got a wee bit more buoyancy about them and belief, and that'll come down. I mean, if the players have got beliefs now, they're training and they're liking it. Kind of speaking to, my source is Bobby. Speaking to Bobby, he's saying that the players are different. These new boys is really stuck in well. I'm hearing from other people in the area that Dick's different, and Dick's a different man. And again, that's often. The city seems to just be more like, what's the word I'm going to look for here? Rejuvenated. He's found his mojo, for a better word, maybe. And we can understand what like it is, anybody that's been in a position like Dick's in Pink. I suppose you get disheartened. You've bought the players in, they're no working.
I was just about to say, do you think he sees those players that have all left? Do you think he sort of looks at them, there's no spring in his step, he sees the new signings and thinks, oh, I've got a chance here?
I think so. I think that Dick's no different from any of the rest of us. He'll not like it if something he's done's no work it. Unfortunately for him, he's the man that has to change it. I am not sure, I'm going to ask you this, I'm not sure who's responsible for bringing these new signings in, but at the moment, with what we're seeing, they are totally different. In my opinion, they're totally different. The signings we've got now are fitba players. You can see that. I mean,
well, we'll run through them individually after we've done the last games, but we'll get to that. But it's looking good.
See on the thing you're talking about, Dick, right? I went down to training last Monday, and first of all, as they always are, we know the club's so welcoming, honestly. Welcome like with open arms, you know, just felt part of the team when you go down there. And that's the club that I love and respect. That's the club that we all love, that we feel they open the doors to you and they let you feel welcome. So we went down there. Dick was enjoying the fact he had an audience. I think he likes an audience, so enjoying the fact I was down there. The chairman was down. We were watching the players, and he did have a spring. He was running the sessions, he was doing the drills, and he was making the players do some old-fashioned drills, we would say, and he was making them like bump and jump into each other and stuff like that, and he was trying to get them to knock each other over and things like that, and they were laughing at it, you know, but they were enjoying it. There was a lot of fun going on, and some of the new boys had come and started for the first time. I think Toyosi was there for the first time. And he really settled in straight away, and I noticed that Bobby Lynn right at the end went over to him and said, look, well done Toyosi, he did really well, and took him into the group and made him feel part of it. That's what we need a collective group. We don't need the worst thing you can have as a football team is you can have your wee group over there that's sitting in a corner there and your wee group over there, because when they go together on a Saturday they should be together, they should all be together, there should be their wee pockets over there, and I think that's what we've got again. I think the spirit's there.
I heard it was a bit like that before Christmas, wasn't it? It was
I
a
don't
bit
see.
fragmented. I don't know rumours, but
I genuinely don't know.
You could see it in the
I
pitch.
genuinely don't know the ins and outs of that, but I know that what I saw the other night was the Arbroath that I think I've
old
come to know
Arbroath,
over the years, and the Dick Campbell I saw the other night is the Dick Campbell that I've come to know. I wonder if with Dick, I'm thinking back to the Kilmarnock game, you know, when we lost. I gather, I mean, he was surrounded in a circle with people at the end. He was absolutely devastated that we hadn't won the league. You know, that was. I think that he thought that was his big moment, his big career moment.
Dream,
you know, and I wonder if that coupled with losing players in the summer, that we were always going to lose the loan players, but then the players that we didn't expect to lose. And then the start, I wonder if it just all started to weigh down on them quite a bit.
Yeah.
But what we've done as a club, we've put a structure in place. We will talk about recruitment, we've put a recruitment structure in place. We've given Dick Campbell support. He's not alone. He's got Ian Campbell. He's surrounded by people he knows and he trusts as well. And you can see that he's back. And Dick Campbell loves a fight. He loves a battle. He loves being an underdog. It maybe doesn't suit him to be the leader, you know. It maybe doesn't suit him to be a team that's, you know, the riding high at the top. It maybe suits him to be a team that's got a point to prove or people writing them off.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he likes that sort of role, does he? Anyway, moving on to Ayr. 2-2. What do you think?
The newbies stole the show. That's it. That's it. Newbies stole the show. Shite refereeing. That's it. Right, for me, I think absolutely fantastic that the new boys got the goals again. That's meaning I think further on.
Should have won.
With what I saw, should have won easily.
Second half,
easily.
Second half. It's interesting because we'll talk about the Morton game in a minute, but it's similar to the Morton game. Dominated the second half.
Just you keep us right.
We absolutely dominated the second half against Derry United. Shouldn't have been a penalty. That was the first bad decision the referee got. It was never a penalty for them. They got that penalty decision in their favour. And then first of all, I thought the ref was going to abandon the game at the penalty because the boy had to re-spot the ball about 5 or 6 times before it would actually stay with the wind. And I thought if it doesn't stay on this time, he's probably just going to call the game. What controversy that would be, abandoning the game with that penalty kick. But then there was a tackle on Elmani right in the touchline, right in front of Dick Campbell. And the boy just wiped him out, completely wiped him out in front of Dick Campbell. No foul given, and that's what set Dick off. I mean, Dick deserved to get sent off. We cannot argue with that, except that he argued with the referee. The referee came over and then he stepped back on the pitch, and you can't do that. So it's the first yellow for arguing, second yellow for encroaching the pitch. It's straightforward, but it's probably a red card he was quite happy to have because he wasn't happy with the referee. But we played really well, do you know? And we'll talk about players again, but for me that was the game that opened my eyes to what a Darkwa can bring to us as a team. Not just with his goal, but the way he played, his overall play.
Big, strong guy.
He's an absolutely lovely human being. Have you seen that glistening thighs he's got? Oh, that man is absolutely outstanding. I could not take my eyes off his thighs the other day. I'm not joking. He's got legs like a Charlie Ball.
You always fancy a Charlie Ball, do you?
I'm not joking. That man, to me, epitomises what a big, strong centre forward should be. You're no going to push him. What I've seen of him already, he jumps, he's in your face, he's your target man, and there's other boys going to feed off of him.
He's very technically.
I'm actually now slightly worried for him for when we have him in.
Yeah.
For the next pod, because he's going to be sitting next to you.
He's going to be eyeing up his thighs the whole time.
You're going to insist on him wearing shorts.
He's just going to be sitting there going, look at that.
Dress code.
Yeah.
He's hands.
No shorts that day. No shorts that day.
Keep your hands above the desk.
But then had in my opinion, the freebie Scottish Cup game against Motherwell. We're not worried either way really about that. It was just about putting on a good show.
Great turnout.
And your heart of hearts, did we expect to beat Motherwell?
Yeah. No, but for me, you're absolutely right. For me, that's been the turning point for me for the season. I think that showed him that was a free hand for us. Free hand, but I thought Motherwell were poor. I thought that, well, poor's maybe a bad word. They weren't very good. I thought Arbroath were good. The difference with Motherwell and Arbroath that day, in my opinion, was Motherwell were just a little bit crisper and faster than their passing than we were. And that, I think that just comes because we were getting used to getting our mojo back. Full time, they came up, they've played together for a wee while.
They're a Premier League side.
But their passing was sharp, banging. It was forceful passing. You know, this tip-tappy passing, but force. every pass when you watched it was going. They were stronger in midfield than us. Fine, no drama. But I thought as a team we competed well. I thought that they didn't trouble us too much. We looked good in defence. Although I was a wee bit. I thought that Tom O'Brien was, what's the word, possibly up against it a little bit. He was missing Ricky because Ricky
went off.
So he was there. But again, for me, that's the freebie allowed the players to relax and just kind of get in amongst themselves. Just my opinion, by the way.
Any shiny thighs? No.
Oh, I was glued.
Well, he was great actually. Again,
He
really showed himself up against Scottish Premiership defenders, and he showed again. For me, every single game he's played, he's got better and better.
I think so.
And I think that the only thing that was missing from him was a bit of support. You know, for me, the frustrating thing is we say it's a free hit, but I think Motherwell were there for the taking. I think that had we been a little bit braver in attack, a little bit brave, you know, we might have got a result. 2-0 again flattered them. I think 1-0 was a fair result. You know,
you can't have the last goal. You can't have
it wouldn't have surprised me if we'd nicked a goal and gone into extra time, and then it could have been a different game. But the Arbroath, and we can't hark back to it, but the Arbroath this time last year would have beaten Motherwell on that day, even the way Motherwell played. But I still think that we played well, we competed well. Overall left, I didn't feel totally dejected, disappointed. I actually felt, because we were about in the morning, helping with the pitch and stuff like that, and I felt the real community spirit, the Arbroath community spirit was there. You know, I feel that's what's still there. You know, the turnout for the home support, fantastic.
Do you think, just putting this up for discussion, we were 1-0 down with about 2 or 3 minutes to go, and we were attacking, and we got a corner, I think it was, up here. Just out of curiosity, personally, I would have had the keeper and Abdi up. We put 2 defenders marking the halfway line and a goalie. Would you have shoved Abdi up, or would you have just even for discussion?
Definitely.
It's a free hit.
It's a cup game, you go for it, isn't it?
And I can't goalies didn't score all the time, but for some unknown reason, when a goalie comes up, upsets the defence.
Well, look at Sander Clark for St Johnstone at Ibrox. Yeah. I mean, he didn't actually score, but he set up the goal. He set up the goal. They ultimately got them to a cup final. You know, so. I mean, on a personal, selfish point of view, I've never seen a goalkeeper score in a game. I would love to see that. That would be the best thing ever.
Yeah, as you said it now, you're in a great spirit with the club.
Yeah.
I mean, 99.9% of the folk it was doing here in the morning was working. It was just fantastic to see. There was the odd one wasn't working, dicking about with a camera, taking pictures.
I did love the odd sandbag. Aye. But we're supposed to meet at 8:30, and I turn up just before 8:30, and half the work's already done.
You turned up on time?
No.
Well.
But no.
Cheesy peepsman.
I think it was a great thing. I think because it's been difficult for the fans, and we look at social media. We've been slating them. We've all been doing it. We've all had to go at them in the television. Fans has been bickering with each other, and it still happens. That and Saturday there for the Motherwell game was fantastic. Abdi was doing the laugh and carry on was just. But I loved it. It was brilliant. We buying a cup of tea afterward, and Abdi, and then we come in for the game, and I think Abdi was quite buoyant. It was a free hit, like we've said. So
sometimes I think you need to hit a reset button, right? And I think what's happened now is we've hit a reset button as a club, right? The expectations that we had up here, we're going to win the league or we're going to get there, people are accepting that's not likely to happen. Fermer might disagree, that's not likely. So now people are saying, right, actually we're happy with where we are. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to what we know and love as a club. And it's been together, it's been spirited, it's turning up every week. We lose maybe 3-4 games in a row, but you still turn up and you still stand in the terrace, you still pay your money, you still go and get your pie, your steak and kidney pie or whatever. I don't eat the pies here, but whatever the pies are.
You can eat them somewhere.
Don't get me wrong. My fridge is stocked full of food that I do eat. It's maybe no pies, but I think it's about just coming back here, and that's what I like. That for the Motherwell game, it wasn't just the spirit of turning up; it was the amount of people that actually turned up to watch us that day as well. Fantastic.
I think there was a buzz in the town prior to that,
and I think that's
great to Motherwell as well. Motherwell turned up their numbers as well.
Like we all said, it was nice to free hit, and we're back. And I think that's not just the performance, but why it is to the community, the club, the press cover. It's brought the club right back to where we were. I'm not going to disagree with what Ewan said there. I think that perhaps where we are at the moment is nowhere we should be. I think we're 2 or 3 places, well, 2 places up, I think, better.
Yeah.
I think, but it's no, and I'm not going to go at the club or the team, but it's no our league position. A lot of folk, including myself, has not been just that happy with what we've been seeing, because we've not seen that for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So I think we're
Fair
greedy,
comment.
possibly. You can, we maybe we're greedy, but we're no used to seeing that. I mean,
a little bit spoiled as well.
Put yourself in an Aberdeen fan's position just now. Yeah, but they're going through hell, but they're still, what, 4th or 5th in the league?
Yeah.
You can. We're what doing at the bottom, but they're second bottom, but we're not feeling positive. I mean, I think,
We basically all need to turn out for between now and the end of the season, regardless
That's
if we lose games, whatever, because the players need us. They need the backing from the terrace. They don't need the dissenting voices, and I know people are entitled to shout and boo and to say things because they pay their money and their fans, and they don't always have to agree with everything. But more than anything, the players need our backing. You know, the club needs the backing because we're not going to get through it otherwise. You know, but we will get through it. I believe we'll get through it. In fact, I'm a firm believer. I'm looking up. I'm with you. I'm not thinking that we're going to just be involved in a 3-way fight down at the bottom. I think that we'll get out of it and we will climb the table. But we do need the fans to continue turning up.
We're playing Kilmarnock next year because Kilmarnock's coming down. So we'll get back down there and we'll stuff them at their own ground next year. They've named Kyle Lafferty. They boxed that league last year. I'm just telling you right now, because Kilmarnock's coming down, because they are absolute rubbish. They are terrible.
Here's farmer's rent.
Well, you can tap my rant. I'm fed up looking at that boy Killaway on the Twitter. You'd think Kilmarnock were a big team. They're the smartest club in Ayrshire.
I'll wind them up,
No, but I mean,
honestly,
they're up here. They've gone into the Premier League. They've not given themselves a show. They have been poor. And Dundee United, I don't know what's wrong with them. I mean, I'm expecting them to get better now that Spoony's over. But they're rubbish enough. So that's clubs. Dundee United, Kilmarnock struggling. Aberdeen struggling. Their fans are going to be, we were struggling. We're on the up now.
I agree with that.
In our league, Cove are not looking great. I think for the positivity, I think we've got more than what they've got at the moment. I think we're going in the right way and they're coming the other way.
Well, January can actually be a crucial month, you know, because the
100%.
Recruitment is absolutely key. I mean, we will talk about recruitment. I'm sure Fermer's got great expertise in recruitment and he's professional.
Aye, for berry pickers.
Aye, but well, some of them maybe do a better job on the pitch, but
controversial.
Goodness me.
No, that's poor.
The Morton game.
And
for me, this is proof that we were on the up. Is the Morton game.
Morton's a bogey. We're that bogey team. Morton's struggle against us. Near the best first half.
Hang on. So Spoony, the Morton game, seen as you were there.
Yeah, Fermer was down at Greenock as
he was through there. Was he shopping or something?
See what they say in football is there's some, see for players there's some tough venues, there's really hard venues to get to and stuff like that, tough places to play at, but see for supporters as well, there's sometimes some tough venues to get into
I know. They've got high standards.
Sometimes you get there and you see the stadium, you see the bright lights and everything, you think it's Saturday afternoon, can't wait, fitba day, brilliant, you get up to the gates and for some reason or another you just can't cross over that line and get into your seat.
Do you think Fermer was just dazzled by the bright lights?
Probably. Listen, he can mark it, as I said when we were off air, he can mark his mileage sheet down. He did do the journey, but we'll maybe need to pass over to someone else to talk about the game. But
were you a bomb scare, Fermer?
I had a joke getting hit the ground because of my bomb scare. I didn't care what happened. We were in the bowling club and I tripped coming out of the bowling club and
lost your footing.
Lost my footing, So it wasn't the best first half of football I've ever seen. In fairness to myself, and fair play to the Victoria Bowling Club, I sobered up for the second half.
Sorry, hold on. You were drunk. I didn't realise that.
I'll tell you, I've watched a lot of football games in my life. That's the first time I've been refused entry to the ground. And to be fair, it wasn't. I just didn't look well. To be fair, but the boy at the Victoria Bowling Club, he gave me some more soup.
A cup of coffee.
But no, listen. Children, don't do as I do.
Anyway, back to the game.
Second half, I thought we were very, very good. and I'm just going to come straight onto the goal.
I'm listening. I'm listening in amazement here at your description of the second half. Are we trusting in a man that was that had one grey goose too many to give a description of what happened in the second half? Do you know what the score was?
Do you know what?
You've actually he's been to hospital. I'm not going to tell tales what game it was or not. He was at hospital one time and he texted me and I was talking about the hat trick. He didn't even know it was a hat trick. And he was at the game. I wasn't even at the game and I knew there was a hat trick at the game.
He's got for him then. He's got for him.
The man's coming out firing bombs here.
It's Grey Goose for him. He's got Grey Goose.
Need to stop stalking Grey Goose up there, Paul Reed.
He's been raking about in somebody's bag throwing bombs out here.
Right.
Anyway, McKenna's goal.
I'll tell you, if it was for me, it was good about McKenna's goal. McKenna said the practice and that, but you see the way Ryan Dowd, he didn't just pass that by.
No,
flicked it up, and that was superb.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you call that? A volley, a half volley, a drop volley?
Half volley, yeah. I mean, McKenna, I spoke to McKenna afterwards and he said that the pass for Dow was absolutely on a plate for him, because he said if he'd rolled it on the ground, it gives you a decision to make in your mind. Do you take an extra touch and have a shot? But you've got no decision to make. You just have to hit it first time the way he did. But it was the build up to it as well. It was a team goal. It was it started way back in defence, and 6 passes later we've got Ryan Dowd doing his little cheeky wee assist, and a sublime finish by McKenna. Outstanding. Probably one of the best goals I've witnessed for years, to be honest with you. It was outstanding, but it was just testament to the way we played as a team in the second half. We were absolutely on it. That's the best performance we've had this season, I think.
2 things about that game for me. One, the freedom that Mikey McKenna's getting to play with is back to like it was last season, because we've got other players able to create space for him.
The whole game's not on him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, see when you look at the bench now, we've got game changers on the bench, which, no disrespect to the people that have left, but when you looked at the bench pre-Christmas, your heart sank a wee bit. Right. Yeah. But now you look at it and you go, we've got a squad.
It's a great bench.
When you think about it, our most influential player, probably, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was watching a lot of games at Tannadice in the early part of the season, and I was only here occasionally for games, but our most influential player in the early part of the season was Bobby Lynn.
Yeah,
and now Bobby Lynn's finding it difficult to get into the team.
Yeah.
You know, and you put Bobby Lynn on the pitch, he will contribute enormously when he goes on the pitch, but he's finding it hard. But he's not carping the sidelines, he's not moaning and stuff like that. He will keep going and he will keep at it until he gets
super sub role against.
Yeah, but
he knows the club and he'll work for the club. He'll do it.
Also, what Ewan said earlier on for Bobby's is valuable at training as he is here, and I think that people need to understand that. You can have I always remember Walter Smith saying Alan McCoist was the first name. He'd have Alan McCoist in his team every week or in the dressing room because of what he brought to it, and that's what Bobby Lynn brings. We has it to these youngsters. So
I don't know who said it, but somebody famously said that the best managers, the best way to manage is to manage the ones that are not playing than the ones that are playing, because you want to make sure that you've got a happy camp and your overall. So Dick Campbell's work is with the players that are not getting a game every week just now to make them realise, that they're.
I might disagree with that a little bit. You and I get what you're saying. It's very easy to manage good people. You've got to work with the bad people, but you can't forget about your good people. They still need a boozy and a love as well. So.
We mentioned Bobby Lynn, but is there anybody out there wants to buy a Bobby Lynn toilet seat? I've got one of them going, signed by all team.
What's that?
I got it at hospital drunk. Yeah, you weren't there. No,
is that the game I had to leave at half time?
You left at half time.
Sending me bad text messages, JB, which we're not going to talk about.
I took the toilet seat home to my wife and thought this would be great in the spare bathroom. Nah, that's not happening. So if anybody wants a Bobby Lynn toilet seat, it's up
put it as an auction prize or something like that.
Community Trust will take it an auction.
Are you want
for
it,
the
JB,
kids.
in your house?
No. But I'll take it with the Community Trust. That's the games we've got coming up.
Yeah.
Got Wraith and Cove. Two big games.
Cove will be a cracker.
Aye, I knew you were going to say that. Forget Cove, because it's
a good time to take them.
Cove. Do
you think they're done?
I'm not saying they're done, but listen, Cove's a massive game. So it's a 6 pointer as well, say it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Cover know what we're aiming for. We need to be higher. Wraith on Saturday. We need to get Wraith. Let's get Wraith. Let's get Wraith pumped, because if we beat Wraith, it doesn't matter what Cove do. We sort out them. We'll leapfrog Cove and get up into out of the danger zone, and that's where we have to be.
That's the interesting thing, is that in McKenna's interview at the weekend, he was talking about he thinks that more teams could come into this as the season goes on. Wraith could be one of those sides. If we beat them, we'll be 6 points behind them, and suddenly that doesn't seem an insurmountable gap, you know. So then, and then Morton are on the same points currently as Wraith as well. So Morton are maybe not so secure as they maybe felt they were, if we can start to put results together. So then suddenly the league changes. Look at the Scottish Premiership. Before Christmas, you're thinking, God, Dun United are doom and gloom, right? And they might still be, but there was 4 teams after the weekend that were all on the same points. That's what we could start to see if we can hold them into it, and then you're talking. It's interesting then.
That's what I mean. Wraith's only lost. We've only lost one more game than Wraith. And so, there's 9 points of difference at the moment. I mean, it's a massive game on Saturday for Wraith, and I'm very, very confident on Saturday for Wraith.
I'm looking forward to it.
And then, you mentioned Cove. We need to sort Cove out. Just need to put them in their place. And I think now's the time to do it.
It is, but do you know, my only we're talking about Cove are on a down at the minute, but we have to remember there's a gap between the Cove game as well, and it can be a time where they can just almost
2 weeks to go.
We've got a free weekend after the Wraith game, and then it's, you don't know, but they are on a downer just now. They are on a downer, but for the Wraith, from a Wraith perspective, I spoke earlier about the Morton performance being the best this season. The performance we had at home to Wraith Rovers here was probably the worst I've seen Arbroath play in years. That was the night for me where I thought, God, this isn't working this season. Something needs to change, because we just passed the ball side to side to side to side, and it was probably the night, to be fair, that Campbell looked at the team and thought, this needs completely ripped up and started again. And fair play. See, when something isn't working at your job or your employment, you look at you put steps together and you say, right, let's start afresh, let's put the blocks in place, and that's exactly what we've done as a club since then. So hopefully Wraith play the same way as they did, because if they play the same way as they did and we play the way we can play, we will beat them.
Yeah, we will. I would like to think that the club will do the kind of Arbroath. If I was Dick, I'd be taking the players somewhere next Saturday. Just one up, I like kick about, like lunch, and just do something.
I think the players might have. They're probably going to be arranging some. I would hope that they're going to arrange a team building, a spirit. That's what it needs. You know, they can go and have a few drinks together. They can go and have fun. They can go and have a laugh together. It's about, that's what they need. It's what we were talking earlier. We need that collective spirit between now and the end of the season. So if they're pals with each other, they've already got a core group of guys that have been here for years. But it's about getting the new boys on board.
Team building.
Exactly, that's what it is. That's what you
just
want.
stay after Greg Goose.
Avoid
that.
I know this is an Arbroath podcast and we're going to talk about all the signings, but the one for me for other teams was Simon Murray leaving Queen's. I think that's going to hurt them, because
I actually wasn't shocked to see he left Queen's, because I've heard a lot of
chat. I don't know enough about them, and
I heard a lot of chat that for one reason or another that he wasn't entirely happy there, they weren't entirely happy with him, and there was a lot of chat that he was going to be moving, but I was surprised at Ross County, because I actually thought he was going to go to Dundee. I thought that was the team that I was really surprised at Ross County, but I think it's a good signing for Ross County. But you're right, in terms of Queen's Park, it could cause real damage. I mean, they've signed Connor Shields, who from Queen of South, who at Queen of, well, no, he was at Motherwell, but he was at Queen of South, where he made his name at Queen of South. He did really well there, had a purple patch there, got a move to Motherwell, but I don't quite know if he's quite the same level. I mean, Simon Murray at Gayfield, if we could have him back here. I mean, he ripped us apart for Queen's Park here, but in both games I think he did.
Yeah, so, every time.
So it comes back to haunt us every.
I think he's one of the players that if you've got kids playing football, you base it on Simon. He's right up, he never tires, he can zigzag all day long. And
it's his runs,
scores.
His movement. I mean, he caught us on the break every time in the last game here. You know, he knew what to do.
But remember, that's when we weren't good. We're good now.
Oh no, we're totally good. We're honestly,
getting better.
I'm really positive. You know, I think that we are back. We are absolutely back to the Arbroath that I know and love. You know, I think we've had a spell. Everybody's hit the reset button and we're back. So.
Right.
Well, on that subject, we're going to run through the signings, 7 signings. Which one do you want to start with? Fermer.
Well, I mean, this is name my expertise here because they're new signings. I'll reserve judgment till I've seen them.
Aye.
But I think on what I see and where we go, I mean, we spoke about Sean Adarkwa. I think he's started very well. He's a big guy. He's exactly what we're needing because he's going to let Mikey McKenna take the pressure off of Mikey McKenna, let Mikey play where he plays best, which we've shown already. Give Michael a little bit more freedom. So for me, I think that's a tremendous signing. Don't, as I said, I don't know how much of it's Pink and Dick or how much of it's Barry. I
think
it's a combination.
He's not been brought in for nothing, so a lot of it has to be Barry's connections. But Dick and Pink will still be giving it.
Of course they will. Of course they will. They're the boys, right? So I mean, so for me, I'm really keen to see how he goes when we come up. Because just bearing in mind, some of these other clubs that we're in battles with, they've got bigger clubs to play than we have just now. We've played a lot of the harder games.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You can, so sorry to bring that back to that, but I'm interested to see how these guys will come up again because I think, for me, he's a great looking player.
See, do you know what I like about Darker? Right? See, we all know and love Joel Newbley. I mean, my son's still got the picture behind his bed, and 6 months hero. But for me, I'm not going to say he's Joel Newbley. But what the similarities with Joel Newbley is that he might not score 20 goals for us this season, but the amount of goals that he will create by his presence, by opening the gaps, by making the space, by linking up with the teams. That's what Newbley did for us. Newbley wasn't a goal scorer, but he was a player.
He held the ball up so well.
He tied up defenders and then left space, and that's what Adarkwa does. His control, his touch is very sound. I mean, he can bring the ball out of the sky and he can kill it stone dead. He can play with both feet. He's strong. He's good at dribbling. He's good at going forward. He can hit a shot. He can find a pass. I'm really genuinely struggling to find many faults with him. Maybe actually, ironically, I don't think he's as brilliant in the air as you would anticipate, but he's still good in the air, you know. But I think everything about him, for me, I'm already saying it. It's easy for me to say because I'm not the money man at the club. I'd be tying him down. Because I think that he's, I mean, at his age as well, 22, he's come in, he came through West Ham's Youth Academy, he got a move to QPR, he had a back injury for 10 months that kept him out, and he's only just recovered from that back injury. I think that we're lucky in some respects he had a back injury, because he might have kicked on at QPR and we might not have got him, but he was obviously out of favour because he hadn't been able to recover, and they decided, right, end of contract you go, and we've pounced on that, so I think he's a great signing.
If he can hold the ball up as well as Newbley, it just takes the pressure off the ball coming back to defenders all the time, and that's key, I think.
He's maybe not got the same, like, I don't know, the
ball skills.
Yeah. I mean,
Newbley was good on the ball.
Who does realistically?
He was good.
Who can control the ball down in the byline like Joe Newbley can? You know, I mean, he used to just take the ball down the byline and just run along that line, and defenders were expecting the ball to go out, and he just kept in all the time. Nobody can do that.
I would say Darkwa started better than Joel Newbley did.
Yeah, well. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the first night we saw Joel Newbley, I thought, God, who have we signed here?
I remember that as well. We all thought that.
I was pinging off him and everything like that. But then in fairness, I think he was carrying an injury that night, and I think he played through his injury, and I don't think it was his best. But yeah, he's good.
He's a young lad, like 22. So
I'm rating him up at a high 9, high 8. 8 out of 10. I'm thinking
8 out of 10. We'll stick with that. Elmani,
see,
because they were the two that sort of came in together.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about all of it. Elmani, for me, he's another one, right? He's had an interesting career, hasn't he? I mean, he's been at several clubs. He's probably had more clubs than I've had jobs, which is
come on,
quite a challenge, but he's never.
He's only 27. Christ.
I know he's never really had. But you know, I think it's because I think he's a late developer, right? And I think that's where we again can maybe we can benefit from. He went to Newcastle, which he went from non-league up to Newcastle, a big massive jump. It didn't quite work out for him. He played for the first team at Newcastle. He played a couple of games. He made a debut against Birmingham in the FA Cup. I think they lost.
Sound excellent oracle.
But I mean, what he's got is he's technically sounding fit on both feet. I mean, he's very, very gifted on both feet. I mean, he's definitely got tricks up his sleeve that he can take past players and things like that. He can dribble past players. He's not afraid to have a pop at goal. We've seen him score 2 goals already. He's set up 3. And he works as well, which is what we need. We can't afford, unfortunately, the luxury players that we can just say, oh, well, the other 10 will cover for you. That 11th man still has to do the running, and he does the running as well. And to get in a Dick Campbell side between now and the end of the season, you have to do the running, and he does do that as well. He actually didn't come on at the weekend against Morton. He's on the bench, but I think he was obviously really disappointed because he started really well, but I think that was possibly the right decision in the conditions and the type of game we were going to have, Dick Campbell picked his side based on that. But we'll see a lot of Yassine, I think.
What you giving him out of 10?
I'll give him a 7.
Ooh. Young lad that I like, Baldy.
Yeah. I've seen him a couple of times. I think, for me, I think he's needing a wee bit more. I know a lot of people have rated him really highly and seen him in that. For me, he's just needing that little bit more. But I think he's got something about him. He's got a look about him. He's a hard worker. He looks a hard worker. Doesn't give up. I sometimes think his first touch is no brilliant, but that's just me.
I'm probably going to completely disagree with you.
There you go.
I think he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Right, he's another one. Right, his career history. He was at Rangers B. He's been at Livingston B. He's been at Hibs B. He was then on loan to civil service strollers. He's been on loan at East Fife, and he's only 21, so he's not. This is where he's going to make his grade, but he's made the step into our team, and he's played almost every minute since he came here in January. And do you know what? His work rate is phenomenal, and that's what we've been missing in midfield all season. Dare I say it, we've been missing Nicky Lowe in midfield. Right?
Well, I'm just waiting to say he's like a Nicky Lowe character.
A player of that ilk, a player that's going to run about, harry players, not give them time in the ball. He's not afraid to put a tackle. He's got 4 bookings already, which I'm not sure is going to be great over in terms of discipline.
He's only had 3 games.
That demonstrates that we've got somebody that's got a bit of dig about him. And do you know, we had that when we had Ben Williamson here a few years ago. Somebody that was going to go about and wasn't even afraid to put a tackle in. He can pass a ball. I like him a lot, and he's 21. We've got him an 18-month contract. I think that's sensible business as well, because I think he will get better and better and better.
It's good that these guys that they're signing. Bear in mind, I didn't say I didn't like them, but what I'm saying is they're obviously seeing something for their big contracts and time and doing so. What's that?
You put the reverse lights on there.
No. Me Spoony didn't always see eye to eye in players just okay.
What you giving him?
This is when nobody's putting the reverse lights on as well.
I'm going to stick. I just for me, I'm giving him a 6.
6.
To be fair, I should maybe put Almani up to an 8 instead of a 7. Okay. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, sticking with midfield, Hetherington on loan.
Yeah. Do you know, in fairness to Hetherington, right, he's not been fully fit yet since he. When we signed him, we knew we'd signed him and he was carrying a little knock, and we were getting him fit, and we weren't. I think part of the arrangement was that we weren't fully committed in terms of finance with him at that point. I think there might have been a little bit of assistance and understanding from Falkirk that we're sending a player that's not fully up to speed yet, right? So it's good. So the clubs have worked together well on that. But in terms of what he can do and what I've heard from him in training, I've heard he's the business in training. And he belted in a 25-yarder when I watched him on the Monday night, and I heard they played a bounce game the other night, and I heard he was excellent the other night as well.
Happy days.
And I think that again he's a worker. Again, he's somebody who's played a lot of games at a good level. I mean, he played about 130 games for Alloa, which is good. You know, Alloa he was a loyal player there. He went away to Falkirk. He was made captain when he went to Falkirk first. You don't get made captain of a club unless you've got something about you in terms of your personality, and that's what we need is personality. And with Keegan Jacobs out long term, with Dylan Tate's been out for a long time, you know, we need extra bodies in the midfield, and I think he'll be important.
I think he'll be important for these new guys round about him as well. I think they'll learn off him, because I think this boy can pick his foot in the bar, and he can see if things is going to be right. I think he'll be a great signing.
You can only give him a provisional score then.
Well, I'll give him a provisional 8, but you can't ask me. You can't. I've not seen him play for.
That's what I'm saying. It's provisional.
I've seen him play for other clubs.
It's mere a prediction.
I think.
I don't know how good your predictions have been this season.
I think he's a potential. I think he's the guy we're looking for.
Well, another one is Dow attacking midfield, 31.
love him.
And we touched on him earlier, didn't we?
I think he's great, and I think he'll be a massive help to Michael McKenna and Jonas Walker. I think that's.
Yeah.
You'll see. Well, he's already helping Michael McKenna, but you can. I think he's got a brain. He's got a brain.
Yeah,
he's a step ahead of a lot of people, and that will make a big difference. I might like to see him. Again, he's not played a lot, but I think Ryan Dow and Scotty Allen might actually.
Well, I was going to mention him. Like,
where does this? I think. Well, Ken Scott Allen's got a fitba brain in him, but I think Ryan Dow is as well when I see him, and I think the two of them could maybe.
Well,
for me, Ryan Dow is that he's the one that I've got the most hope for. Probably just because I came more about him and seen him.
So we've signed 3 midfielders. Where does Scotty Allen fit in?
But Dow can play more wide and more. He can play up front as well. He can play. He's played.
Do you think there's
he's played in his career at Dundee United? He played in a more advanced central role.
Do you think Scotty Allen's
well.
got a place? Or do you think?
I think he's got a place between now and the end of the season, right? Whether or not he becomes a regular starter between now and the end of the season, I think he's got work to do that. And I think, and it's no, I mean, Scott Allen's a fantastic, technically gifted footballer. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he can, at the time when he hits the ball properly, he can hit a precision pass like few other players in this division can do. But it's whether or not, in the situation we're in, where we need to battle and scrap for points, whether or not that type of player becomes more of a luxury or more of a bring off the bench when you're winning a game when you want to, or when you need to unlock a defence.
Do you think that the type of players that we've signed now and how we're going now, we're probably, I'm feeling we'll not be battling so much. I think we'll be commanding a wee bit more with the players that we've signed. So I'm thinking some of these other guys, I mean, we've mentioned Baldy there because with Kenny's a worker, even I said he was a worker. He's a worker, and some of these other guys will be working here. So I think now we might, Scott Allen will fit a wee bit because he'll know he players rushing at him if these guys is in doing a bit tackling at him. So that might be the time when he unlocks the killer pass for McKenna or Dow or
now you mention it, and I know you'll have a stat. Our possession has gone up this month in the last few games, so that might suit Scotty Allen. We're holding the ball better.
Yeah, if we go back to the Morton game, we absolutely bullied them off the park, right? And then after we bullied them off the park, then we passed them off the park. And I think you're right. I think we totally dominated that second half. I mean, all my pals are Morton fans, right? That I go to Scotland games with, and we've got this. Yeah, well, not actually pals, they're acquaintances, right? But even in the group chat, I've been in a group chat with them for years, and they kick me out almost every time Arbroath play against Morton because we normally beat them. We haven't actually lost them in 11 games, so there's been a lot of times I've been kicked out of the group chat. I wasn't actually kicked out at the weekend because they just all accepted, hands up, you were by far the better team. And I think you're right. That's probably, if that's the way we're going to play, let's start getting in your faces on players and saying put players off and say like you don't fancy it today. And after we do that, then start dominating the possession. And I think you're right. But Ryan Dow, great experience, played over 300 games at a very good level. You know, at full time level. For Dundee United, Fermer and Ross County, you know, he's played at a very, very good level. It's the sort of player that will come in and go to training and play straight away. He'll fit in straight away because players say he can play football.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
What about the man that runs faster than Mbappe?
Oh yeah, Toyosi. Right, I think he will be important for us. Right, I think it was an interesting debut. I'm going to say right because I think that he offers a certain je ne sais quoi, you know. I think that he's uncertain. You know, defenders, probably his teammates don't know what he's going to do yet. I think that's part of it as well. But I also think defences don't know what he's going to do. And I think that his pace, we didn't quite get to see. I wanted to see him on a 1-to-1. I was looking forward to seeing Usain Bolt running down the touchline at Capello. We didn't quite get to see that. But what we did quite get to see is that again with Adarma, he'll probably tie up defenders because defenders cannot afford to give him any space. So then that maybe opens up space for other people. So it'll be interesting to see. It was actually a funny moment on Saturday that Toyosi probably will want to forget, or he'll put down as the most embarrassing moments. I don't know if we were aware of this, but he was running full pelt down the flank, right? and he couldn't stop himself. He ran into the advertising hoardings and he fell right over the advertising hoardings, and he was behind the advertising hoardings for about a good 60 seconds, and the referee had to go and pick him out of the
So is this like Forrest Gump when he signs it says stop running,
and
stop
to be
running?
honest, I think he'd been maybe in the sense that he'd been a bit of a pest to Morton. Morton fans didn't like him at all. They were booing him, and it wasn't because he's a St Mirren. They were just fed up with him, and they were laughing at that point, and and all the fans were saying he fell over and everything like that. I don't know if maybe they were singing that to you outside, actually. Maybe it wasn't to you, say.
But you're bombing in with the jokes tonight.
Jenky will link up with a dark with though.
I think it's perfect.
Keegan Toshak?
It's absolutely. It's pace and power.
It's an old one for you.
No, but it's the power. Dartmouth brings the power, he brings the strength and everything, and he's got somebody running off him with pace. I think it's ideal. I think it's perfect, and I can totally 100% understand why the thought process was let's get somebody fast.
Heskey, Michael Owen. There you go. There's another one.
Yeah.
I was more thinking, no seeing him play, I was more relating until Danny Denham, because Danny Denham was a wee bit like that when he had the ball. He didn't care what he was doing, mate.
But do you know what? That's a bit hard, right? Do you know? I think, I don't know. We'll see. I saw a couple of goals that he'd scored on YouTube.
I saw that,
YouTube, and he absolutely left the defence for dead. You know, right. So if he can do that a few times for us this season, then yeah.
That's what we need.
Let's. Do you know how many times this season we've been caught out with pace, and that's been so frustrating. You know. So the teams have got all these fast attacking players, and we haven't had it in the early part of the season. Now we've got it, so let's see how the other teams cope with that.
Best form of defence is attack.
Yep.
Alright.
You getting him a score, Fermer?
Potential score?
I don't care. I'll hit put him doing it. I don't care him. I've not seen him, so I'll hit to give him a provisional.
Aye.
Okay. I'll give him a, based on what you tell him, I'll give him a provisional 7.
Better than Baldy then.
Yeah. So you're here to go at me. I'm just didn't think Baldy. I'm not saying he was bad. I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just with what I've seen.
I will tell you about
and I'll tell you something. I'm sorry.
Zhal will earn us money. He'll earn us money. We'll sell him for money at some stage. Zhal Baldy.
That's fine. That's good. I'm just saying I don't care, but bear in mind I'll get ripped for this because the last time I slagged somebody off I got grief. I'm still recovering from my commentary bashing for Rob Douglas.
Oh, of course, aye.
What was the other name you were needing?
Last night.
Son, last one, we'll just go Lewis Banks.
The mystery.
I don't know anything about him.
Lewis Banks.
He's just exactly what we're needing. A defender, a right back, to allow other players in front of him. Now listen, Oakley was fantastic. Nobody's saying he wasn't. He was an attacking player, so to be fair. We're needing it. We need to get the old-fashioned right back. We're needing. I love Jason Thompson. I didn't think Jason Thompson was the most attacking man in the world, but he was a good right back. He could attacking when he went in as well, but he was a tremendous right back. And for a while I was thinking Oakley was exactly what we were needing, but you saw sometimes that he was pulled for it, and he tended to be more a midfielder / right winger, and I just think that Lewis Banks will be good for that. He comes very highly recommended.
European pedigree.
He's played Sligo Rovers and it's a team that's well known.
Yeah.
So to be fair, Lewis Banks and Ryan Dow are the two that I'm more glad about. Right. For me, to be honest with you.
See, when I first heard we were interested in Lewis Banks, I thought he's an Arbroath player all the way. 100% an Arbroath player all the way. He's somebody that's been loyal. He came through the ranks at Stoke City from the age of, I think, 11, and then left him 20s, moved across to Sligo, and he's won Player of the Year over in Sligo. He's played 118 games, I think it is, for Sligo. The fans loved him over there. He seemed to be an influential person in the dressing room. He seems to be loyal, settled. I think he's an Arbroath player all day long for me. You know, I think I'm with you. I think when I thought bang on him. He's 25, good age as well. You know,
in his prime.
Yeah, and six Europa Conference League games he played earlier this season. He played both full 90 minutes against Motherwell when they beat them 3-0 in aggregate.
That's some experience.
No, absolutely. I think it's a brilliant sign. I think we've done well. I think it's like we've got him under the radar in other clubs, and we're saying, where did you get him from? You know, so I'm really, really excited to see him play, and he can play central defence as well. So That's again why it's an Arbroath player. We've Dick Campbell has made exactly the versatility that we've had players like David Gold, over the years. We've had Hammy's made it different positions. Players, James Craig when he was here played a lot of different positions. So I think that's what we're looking for as a club, and I think he will be great. So
seven great signings, to be fair.
Potential
great signings. I think, and it's in early days, but I mean it's really. But I mean, first time for a wee while, I'm kind of looking forward to the Saturdays again.
Saturday will be brilliant this week.
You can, and I think I think we will do well on Saturday, but if we didn't, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because they'll be there. And we don't have to worry about these players settling in. These are skilled players
established.
They can come into a team. You can. It's. I think the analogy I used earlier on. A golfer can use any club, but he can have a better game with his own clubs. These guys will play fitba for anybody, but once they've been there and settled in, they'll develop.
Great analogy, mate. Great analogy.
I tell you, it's my strong suite.
Where did you get them? Do you get them off of Scottish Dragon?
Yeah, just
brilliantly.
And then you slag Scotty, he's my pal.
Cheesy peeps.
Need to add about that.
Right, we've touched on a few, but is there any of these guys we're going to miss? Hottie?
No.
Corf?
No.
Oakley?
Yeah.
Possibly I.
He's gone to Queen's Park.
Is he Aga?
No.
Fosu?
No.
Hancock?
I didn't mind Hancock, to be fair.
Hancock was alright. He
Hancock's
didn't get the biggest.
He's injured.
Yeah, he didn't get the biggest trial.
So we're not going to miss him.
No, I think so. I think Hancock and young Kieran Shanks will be names for the future.
I think Kieran scored 3 goals for Peterhead, so
He's
that's
good. Brilliant for him.
I mean, Kieran could still come back and be a player for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a contract. He's got a long-term contract.
He's there at the end of the season.
Yeah, I genuinely don't think he was punted out there because we're saying, well, you'll eventually go. I think he was genuinely punted out to build up, get games, get confidence, and then come back and see what you can do back here. So
tough being a sub. You can't get in a game. It must be tough for him, especially at that age. You're needing to play. You've come from godlike status and you're up there scoring goals and that, and you come down here and it's not great. But I think, as I said, and I keep coming back to it, we've had a bad start. These are the boys that've done it, but remember, we're in boys that's been here before. They're coming and settled down again
absolutely.
Now. So we're whole season's near these lads now. It's coming back.
The whole team has had a lift in the back.
Absolutely. Scotty Stewart coming back for me is
it's like a new player.
It's a great thing.
Sam O'Brien looked a lot better on Saturday. He's coming back to himself.
Yep.
Mikey McKenna since the start of the year has been phenomenal.
I thought he was great against Motherwell.
He's been brilliant since the start of the year.
Yeah.
He started at Dundee. I think after that game again, he spoke to the media after that game and he said that was the Arbroath of old, and I think that was the Michael McKenna of old. But I think he's another one that's maybe been carrying the weight on his shoulders of it, because I think we've still got a core group of players that have been here for a number of years, and I think that they were devastated about the way it was going, and they were taking hard because they think this isn't like Arbroath, this isn't the club I know and love. It might have, if they'd gone to another club and they'd said, well, that's maybe what it's always like, but they knew that wasn't the Arbroath, and I think that they're now looking at it and think this is more like us.
I think JB said it earlier with the bench. If you're playing on the pitch and you look at that bench, you're going to raise your game because there's quality on the bench, and you know that you can be whipped off immediately.
Absolutely. Scott Allen
and the fans know
Dylan Tate
that whoever comes on can play.
It's a great incentive, isn't it?
That's a great good.
I think I mean it's I don't like being disrespectful to players that have gone and everything. I wish them well. I hope they go on and have a career, but I think there was probably a lot of points where Dick early in the season was looking to change things, and he's looking at his bench and thinking, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to change things with what I've got on the bench. And it's a shame for them because probably they weren't at the right place or the right level.
It's just to improve you. You didn't bring a sub on to make it worse.
I don't think you can be criticised for saying players is not just where they are or where they should be or what you think for your club, because there'll be lots of other players. I mean, when you look at social media, there's some names banded about. And you go, because I'd kill for him to be at my club, and these guys don't want them.
But these guys might go on to great things.
Some clubs
just don't fit.
Exactly right.
That's true. It's not. Sometimes you've got the right person in the wrong environment. Sometimes you get the right player in the wrong environment.
It's not to say they're bad players. They might be
exactly. I mean, if you judged Newbley in his first 3 games for Arbroath, you wouldn't have had him. So hence why. Here you've heard it here now, Fermer. Baldy might be the new Newbley.
Look at that. You've rated the potential. Could you just go through and rate all their thighs for us as well?
You've got a picture of Sean a dark bit behind your doorway's thighs and everything behind your bedroom.
You're laughing, but that's a specimen of a man, like.
Yeah, but just comment on his thighs. Brilliant.
I want to say thank you to you, first and foremost, because I know we've given you a bit of slagging about the job hopping and things like that, but since you've came back to the Courier, the number of articles that are getting put out there by Arbroath has rocketed. So, and that's down to you. So thank you for giving us the club the exposure it deserves, because it probably didn't get that when you left.
Oh, thank you. You want a free subscription? Is that
No, at all.
But yeah,
A 1p newspaper.
I pushed them a lot though on social media as well. You know, maybe I sometimes think I'm being a little bit of a pest. You know, to put them out.
No,
there,
I wouldn't think you're being a pest.
I'm just a positive pest. But do you know what?
Get that tongue at your cheek.
I think the club are really helpful with me as well. I have to say that as well. You know, the club have opened the doors to me. And that's not always the case. I mean, I've worked in journalism a long time, and you don't always find that at clubs. A lot of clubs are scared, they're paranoid, they won't tell you anything and things like that. But there needs to be a level of trust between me and the club as well. The club need to know that sometimes they can tell me things that I won't always run to write about, or sometimes I will keep up my sleeve, or I'll put out at the right moment for them. And I will always be fair. I might not always be 100% positive. There might be times I have to criticise, but I will always try and see, because I think I really understand this club. I understand the ethos of the club. I know where what it's all about, what makes it tick, and I know the realistic expectations of the club as well. I don't think we should be battering the club, right? See if we're Celtic just now, right, and Celtic are in the position that Arbroath are in just now, you can understand why Celtic would be getting battered by that, but why should Arbroath be getting battered? Because Arbroath, when they got into the Championship, I remember standing on that pitch at Glebe Park when Dick Campbell says, we'll go up there, we'll give it a real go and everything, and I was in my heart of hearts was thinking, I think we're going to be up for one season, we'll be down. Right. 4 seasons on, we're up there, and we are becoming an established Championship club. So I think there has to be a dose of realism about where we came from, about how much the club has improved behind the scenes. I mean, the infrastructure is phenomenal here. I mean, we are the envy of an awful lot of clubs in this division. And also looking at our fan numbers, I looked at a stat the other day, I love my stats here, but I was looking at attendances, and I was interested to note that we are the 6th most popular club in terms of attendances this season in the Championship. We're above Morton. We've got more average support than Morton, and Morton are a long established club that you think, oh well, they've been in the top flight, they've had big crowds, but we season ticket numbers, I would love to see the numbers at other clubs, but I think we were probably in the top 4 probably in this league in terms of season ticket numbers. Hospitality, what a job. I mean, I say it every time, but what a job Paul Reid does for this club. But it isn't just Paul, it had started before Paul Reid came in here, but he's built on the solid foundations.
Done well. Happy birthday, Paul, by the way.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Yeah. But I mean,
youngsters.
Yeah, the youngsters. This is it as well. Opening up to the 1880 crew. Yeah. That's great, because I know in the past I think there was a little bit of I think this tried to happen maybe about 8-9 years ago. I've got the back of my head that they were trying to do this, and it didn't just quite kick off. The drums weren't allowed and stuff like that. The drums are a big part of football now. I know Fermer doesn't like them, but I think that we need to accept they're here to stay. But
because it's the only thing louder than him.
But embracing them. Yeah, they can't hear his commentary over it. But yeah, I think we've said it so many times, the amount of Arbroath merchandise you see about the town. No, I don't see another club's merchandise anywhere now. It's just Arbroath. People are proud of their club, they're proud of the town, you know, they've bought into it. It's absolutely brilliant. I love living in this town, and it's
fantastic. It comes with its same problems, and aggregate we laugh. It's been superb for us as task. So we're now going to be running 2 buses.
Oh.
Okay, that's a big thing. The last time we did that,
is the other one for you to sleep in?
Take him down the road while the game's on.
The great thing is, Ken, so that's 100 folk going up with buses.
Yeah.
It was great. Granted, I get a lot of them's youngsters, so
but still,
it's fantastic. But it comes with the same wee bit. We're now running our buses at a loss. we were getting on better when we were struggling, because we've got that much youngsters wanting to get into the game, so we're going to have to push a wee bit of more fundraising and get them. But what a great problem to have for us.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys are going to the games now, and I think, Dick and when this will be, it'll be before the Cove game. So that, speaking to the club last night, if the task bus fills, the club's going to put another bus on.
Oh, brilliant.
So you can, it'll be 3 buses.
Great.
Brilliant.
And the youngsters, they are the future for
Next
this.
year,
They're the ones. Right, Jackson's now. I've talked about Jackson before. Jackson's now been going to football for, I would say, 12 years here or something like that, right? So Jackson, when he's a dad, when he's a granddad and stuff like that, he'll come back to Gayfield and watch games. The ones that are coming are younger than Jackson now. The core group that are coming in now, they're younger than Jackson. They're the ones that you're not just getting just now, the here and now, and you're getting them just now. It's the ones that are going to grow up supporting them. So. I'm seeing what you're writing down there.
He's seen that.
But Jackson, I mean, when he's seen these new signings, he must have exploded with excitement.
Yeah, absolutely did. Yeah.
I think that was said. No, it's good.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Yeah.
See, when you're reporting on the games, when did you get told which games you're going to see? Is it like the Thursday, Friday?
Well, now it's actually down to me to decide what games are going.
Is it? Right,
yeah,
okay.
There's a kind of, I mean, my workplace is brilliant. It genuinely is, and they just know that I will know pick games. And I'm at a lot of Arbroath games because Arbroath genuinely are the story just now while they're trying to battle to stay up. I'm going to the Brechin game next week.
I was just about to say,
I'm away actually on the Brechin team bus up to Nairn next weekend. Ironically enough, I was supposed to be going to Wick this weekend and miss the Arbroath Wave game, but they can't get me on the bus this week to go up to Wick, so I'm going with their team bus next week up to Nairn, and Brechin are doing brilliant as well. Right. If they win at the weekend against Wick and then they win their game against Nairn, they'll have gone a full calendar year without losing a game, which is fantastic, you know. So yeah,
it'll be like the year they went a full calendar year without winning a game.
Well, this is turning it on its head. I know it's turning its, but do you know, I'm on an Arbroath podcast. I'm wearing an Arbroath top. They are my team, but I do want all the Angus sides to do well.
Except Montrose.
I still kind of secretly want them to do well, you know.
John.
I'd like them to be in the same league as us, you know, at least so we can beat them 4 times a year. But as long as it's the championship as well. I think they're a championship club in waiting, but I don't know if they'll get up this season.
I think they're struggling. They're going to struggle a wee bit in the second half. They've lost a lot of their good signings, haven't they?
Yeah, they're in a tough league as well. They're in a really tough league. I mean, it's like any team from 8th place up to 2nd place really is battling for playoffs just now. Maybe Fermer are going to kick on, or maybe Falkirk will catch them, but it looks like there's going to be a real battle in that league. You know, I think Peterhead and Clyde in that league are cut adrift. They're battling out for bottom and second bottom, but the other teams are battling. So it would be nice to have Montrose up in the championship.
Oh,
it would be. And I wonder if they would look and see what, because Arbroath have set a template for what Angus clubs can achieve. I wonder if Montrose would look at that, and I wonder if their growth would be similar to what we've seen at here, or maybe pro rata because they're a smaller town. But would their growth still go up? Would they capture the spirit of the town? Would they capture the imagination? I don't know what their merchandise sales are in comparison to us, but I know Arbroath will.
They can certainly copy and do what Arbroath's done. Whether they have the same amount of catchment fans is a different story. When you look at their attendances away from home and that, they don't have so much fans, but the fans they've got are loyal to Montrose. Yeah. So you can that. I think the chances is there for them, but they're doing a lot as well. When they're pitching it, they're quite a good community club as well. Do you know? So
they've been set. I'm not even afraid to say this in the Arbroath podcast. They were the leading club in the community in terms of in the whole Angus. They were the leading club. They started it. Their community trust has been phenomenal, and I think that we're starting to catch up. And I think the Arbroath community trust is outstanding as well. You're involved in it, John, and I think that. I think Brechin have cottoned onto that. Forfar are starting to catch up and realise. I think that Angus clubs need a community trust really behind them to have that link with the community, to show what they can do for the community. And it's a two-way street, isn't it? It's about what can the club do for the community, and then the community then suddenly buy right into the club and realise this club is
they're emotionally invested. But we're having that.
I don't think you can over-exaggerate how important it is for clubs not.
The clubs that don't have it right now are struggling. I think genuinely, the clubs that don't have that sense of identity, that don't really understand their general public. I mean, how do they talk to their supporters? How do they speak to people? you know, they don't really understand what their core support is, and I think those are the clubs that are struggling. The clubs, particularly at our level, particularly at Championship level, the clubs that are thriving are clubs like Arbroath that really understand who their customer base is, that really understand what makes their community tick, that understands what role they've got to play in supporting their community, and then what role the community can play in supporting the football club as well.
You're trying to build loyalty, aren't you?
Yeah, but grow at a rate you can support it at. It'll not be the first time, and I don't mean Arbroath, but it'll not be the first time clubs grow faster than they can support it at.
Yeah. You're talking about like a club that's been bankrolled, though, or you're not talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
You're talking about like a Gretna, you know.
Yeah, that's what exactly. I mean, I think you've got to watch it. And one in our division, I mean, they say that they're set for it, but Cove's going to hate to watch. That's it. And I'm certainly no criticising Cove. I mean, I've quite enjoyed my time up there. I've been there, but they're growing quite quickly. I mean, they've come from, I'm saying nowhere, but they've come from well down and risen very, very quickly. So I hope that they can continue and grow at the same rate.
I hope they're comfortable in League One.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I want Aberdeen to be comfortable in the Championship.
I actually don't care what team that's in League One next season, as long as it's not Arbroath.
Exactly.
Genuinely, there's no club that I'm looking at saying I want them to go down. I just want the club not to be Arbroath, you know. So, Cove, I understand where you come from. Cove, realistically, Cove should be thinking this season's all about consolidation, and if they finish 8th place, then that's been a roaring success. But they don't. To the outside looking in, they don't seem to be accepting that. They seem to be in all sorts of disarray because they're not higher in the league, and maybe they need to be a bit more patient. And I mean, they've sailed to the release as you're talking about. They maybe need to understand you get to a certain point and then you have to consolidate. Yeah, but maybe you hit the ceiling for a while and then you sort of raise the roof a little bit so you can go a little bit higher. I mean, I think that's what we did as a club.
Yeah.
No, I think we've lifted the ceiling off and then we've started to. But I think we initially went in and thought, right, this is our level, we've reached our level.
You're acclimatised and then you move on.
Yeah.
You can't just keep blasting right
so
through.
I think that's maybe potentially an issue. I mean, don't get me wrong, in a purely selfish Arbroath perspective, I hope that their poor run of form continues. I really do.
Yeah, well, we'll all do because we're all looking for our club, but it is good when it's a bit ticked there and
that's exciting.
Challenging, isn't it?
Nerve jangling.
Good when it's a bit ticked.
Eh? Yeah, it is good when it's ticked and exciting because it gives you something. You know, when we're winning League 1 and League 2, when we ran away and it was over very early, it was getting a wee bit boring. And when you get every way a game, when you get a game and you're pumping teams and it's a great feeling, but it's nothing as good as getting that wee bit of anticipation and stuff like that again.
What do you think this is going to do for the crowds? You know, because obviously we're going to have pretty much games going to mean something between now and the end of the season. So.
Yeah, I personally think the crowds will actually increase. I see more and more youngsters coming for a start. I think the kids is bringing numbers up, and they are interested in football. Let's no kid yourselves. There's a lot of the youngsters, your son included, cares a lot about football. And enjoy it.
And it's going to be an exciting second half of the season as well, with the players we've brought in and when we start moving up the league.
We'll maybe hate to watch when we're playing clubs with bridges around about us like, but you can.
There's two things that we run a competition on. One of them you're already in, which is the Prediction League.
Yeah, I'm not doing very well. I'm above Fermer.
Everyone's above Fermer this season.
Right. How's Suits doing? Because he was down the bottom last time I checked to see.
He's down there still.
Fermer's not actually participated every week.
How's that?
I was having problems with Twitter.
Were you banned?
No, couldn't get to work.
All right.
Couldn't get his phone to work on Saturday. He's all over the place. Try to press the button and stuff like that.
I can't. Somebody managed to press 999 on the way.
The other
it's a high scoring game, that one.
The other competition we run, and I know you listen to the podcast, so you'll know, is we have the best chanter in the dressing room competition, and at the moment Bobby Lynn stands alone. There's a man here that I've been told could potentially beat him though.
Right, Fermer.
Aye, yeah.
Because I've been told that you almost won tea in the park tickets at a karaoke competition.
How do you know that? Seriously, how do you know that?
I tell you, I'll tell you what I've been for the last 10 nights.
Good old Jill strikes
Seriously?
again.
There's a very select few amount of people, apart from the ones that were on that trip, and very close people to me that know
There's
that.
now 4 in our 20 listeners.
Alright, okay.
And we were told that you would give us a good old Jamaican number to see the show out.
Okay, I'll try my best.
So you're going to sing us out?
Right. I burn like a fire left in the rain, 'cause I run a race, oh yeah man, I feel the pain. From the resistance I is feeling the strain. All the realization is that we is all of the same. Come on and shine, shine like a star, shining so bright, like the star that you are. Oh, shine into the future, spreading your light as far as you go.
Bobby Lynn, you've been pumped.
Jeezy peeps, man.
Peasy
I'll
deep.
tell you something.
Play, you've had enough talent.
Wait up.
Tell you right. Obviously, I know your source, right? Jill does. Jill.
Tell you if I was source was.
Right, Jill actually still doesn't believe to this day that I nearly won those Tea in the Park tickets. We were on a booze cruise, right? It was a journalist day out, and it was all the sports stars we were on the Loch Lomond, and it was a really boozy day. Tell me that, because I'll tell you one story. We got on the bus after we got off, and we were a number down, and we couldn't find. It was a guy who works for BBC just now. I will not go mention his name, but
Jim Spence.
no, it's not him. But he died. But he was. Let's just. I'm not going for names, but let's just say that we couldn't find him, and I was genuinely worried about him. And I was like, but he was found in the toilet, and he maybe had a Grey Goose too many or something like that. But anyway, we had a karaoke competition, and I sang that song, and genuinely I almost won the Tea in the Park tickets, even though I'm terrible. But I almost won them.
No, we'll clip that. That's
Dinner do yourself down.
If that doesn't beat Jeezy Peeps, man, I don't know what will.
You'll have that on TikTok.
Let's go now.
You'll have phone Radio Clyde and get that on.
Well, with that accent, it should be Radio Wales.
On that note.
Anyway, tonight was all about just reviewing the transfer season, reviewing the last few games, looking slightly ahead. I feel we've covered all of that. Farmer, before we go, do you have a rant or a love-in or nothing? No,
I'm just going to say I hope everybody enjoys the night. It was a wee bit of light-hearted banter. We're just giving our opinions, guys.
Absolutely, that's all it is. We'll get the guests back on. We've got a few players lined up for the next few weeks, so we'll get all that. Jamie, anything from you?
All good.
Done. Farmer, done.
Thank you very
Ewan,
much, Spoony.
No,
brilliant. Thank you very much, mate. And a pleasure to have you here.
Good to hear you back.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back.
All the best. Good night. God bless, and we'll see you Saturday.
Bye, everyone.